Hello. So today we're going to be doing a 4S support wrap. For this, the materials you'll need is a double length tensor, and I'm going to be using ultralight to secure it. So 4S, as the name suggests, contains 4 different functional wraps that start with S. So the first one is a spica, then we support the arm, and then sling it, and then lastly, we finish by swathing the athlete. This is an acute wrap, meaning it's used when we don't return to play. So here we go. To begin, I'm just going to check PMS. So, do you feel that?
Yep.
Just show your hand. I'll do it again. Do you feel that?
Yep.
Can you wave your fingers? Alrighty. Okay. So now I'm going to begin the wrap. So the position I'm going to have the athletes sort of start in is I'm going to have him try and put his hand, like sling his hand out like this. So it's an acute wrap, so basically he's injured. So we want to try, ideally he'd be self-slinging, which is sort of when someone hurts their shoulder, they'll hold it like so, like that, yeah. And essentially we want to try and get a little bit of space in between his arms so we can actually do the spica. And that's a good position, so we're going to begin. So for the spica, I'm going to start on this side of his arm. Sorry, I know it's kind of awkward. You also want him to contract his bicep at this point, considering you are now, if he can at least. If he can't, that's, it is what it is. So there we go. That's the spica portion. Sorry. Next, we're going to be doing the support portion. So I'm going to come around like this and then around his shoulder, going around the upper part of his forearm over his shoulder to get that support. Next, we're going to be going into a sling. So for a sling, we want to come across like near the hand area, kind of cup the hand underneath, like so, coming around the side of his torso, and then over that shoulder. And then lastly, we're going to swath the athlete, which I don't have much tensor left, but essentially it would entail wrapping around his body, around the arm like so, just doing loops around here, sort of closing this in. If there's any fractures with this, you'd want those exposed. And then lastly, what we would do to secure it is we can tuck it. Since it's in the back here, I'm just going to tuck it. And now we would recheck PMS. So, can you wiggle the fingers? Okay. Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Everything checks out. The wrap is functional. Do you feel it pulling your shoulder forward?
Yep.
And do you feel it supporting?
Mm-hmm.
Does it?
Yep.
What about the hand? Does your hand feel supported enough?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So ideally, we would want to swath him a bit more if we could, but I ran out of tensor, so I'm not going to. This is an acute wrap, so it's not for return to play. So in that case, we would educate our athlete on the inflammatory stage management. So that would include the acronym POLICE, which stands for Protect, Optimal Loading, Ice, Compression, and Elevation. So with his shoulder, if it were a shoulder injury, we have some compression because of the wrap. We're protecting it with the wrap by pulling it into a more comfortable position as well, which is great. And then we're also supporting the limb, making sure it's not exposed. The swath would also help prevent exposure, as it would, his arm wouldn't be able to get caught on anything. Like in here, you can kind of catch his arm, and that movement may produce pain. So with that, we protected it. Optimal loading, basically work within your pain-free range of motion to begin with and sort of work up from there. I would also icing parameters. So for ice, you're going to feel cold, numbness, cold, burn, ache, and then numb. However long it takes for you to cool it, typically it takes 2 or 3 times as long to warm it back up. So don't apply ice, just reapply when it goes back to normal after a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. The next would be compression. For a shoulder, that's pretty tricky. You could get compression braces potentially, but that's about it. Elevation, again, a tricky one. It's already above the heart, which is kind of nice, but you don't want to potentially lie you could lie with that side up maybe on the couch watching TV if that's comfortable for the athlete. And that's it.